Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of Stuck Between a Rock and a Hard Place. I have my co-host here, Jay.
How you doing, Hive? How you doing, Greg?
All good, all good. And as you heard, Jay, I am Greg. And today we are going to dive into a topic on whether things are worth repairing or just replace. It's one of those that, you always want to try to fix something, but some of the stuff's just not worth it.
Yeah, as a homeowner, whether you're first time or you've been in the house for 20 years, you get kind of a feeling of what kind of person you're going to be with fixing up things or just going out, opening the wallet up and buying a new one. Many different levels on this. Greg, why don't you kind of tell us, what's your thoughts?
I was thinking maybe we could get into a little bit of the whys and why nots, right? Let's get down to the decision first, and then you and I can kind of share stuff around the house that fit in each category.
Sure. Brass tacks with me, I always look at, first of all, something breaks down, regardless of what it is. I look at the immediacy of how fast this thing needs to be fixed. We're talking about a water issue with a faucet, that's kind of immediate. Or are we talking about, maybe a piece of equipment that we haven't used in a year or two? First time use on it, you see it needs to be fixed. Maybe it can be put in the corner and put off for 6 months. So some of those like immediate things will be something I'll look at first. I'll also look at how complex the fix is. I don't want to spend, if I've got projects going, I don't want to spend, a week trying to get the parts or fix something up that I can just go to the store, replace, and use immediately.
Yeah, it sounds like the first thing that comes across is the time, right? How quickly do you need it repaired and how long it takes to do that repair.
Sure.
Those things, as you've heard from our previous talks, time comes up in pretty much every decision, no matter what it has to entail with. And to your point, is this an immediate emergency that I need it fixed and repaired? And if it is, how quickly can I do it compared to a pro, or how much quicker can I just scrap the whole thing and put in a new unit?
Absolutely. When I think of why I'm going to fix something, I also look at the kind of the cost to the value of the product I've got. I mean, sometimes you got low value products that are just simply replaceable with a couple dollars. Or at least within your budget range. Sometimes you've got something that's, been passed down to you from dad to son, and you're going to fix that item because it's either something that is valuable to you or itself, the item itself has value. And you need to determine those things.
Yeah, definitely the nostalgia of some of these pieces that have been passed down. I have tons around the house that are just pieces that mean something to me that somebody else would just scrap in a heartbeat. But man, every time I see it, it takes me back, But also when you're talking costs of replacing the units, how much do those parts cost? Nowadays, we're coming across things where once you look into it, the part to repair the piece might be saving you 20% compared to the overall cost of the unit.
Oh yeah, and I mean, how about the repair cost?
Yeah.
Right? If you get somebody else to go and do this, you're gonna have some service costs on some things if you're not willing to fix it yourself. So yeah, all that rolls into this. I sometimes get excited about a fix.
Oh,
I mean, it's a strange situation, but there's always a challenge that comes into play here with some DIYers who sit there and look at a thing and say, guess what? I can get this done. I can get this done cheap. I can get this done my way. And then we haven't even gone into the other person that might live with your house who says, the minute this goes down, I don't want it down for even a day. You've been telling me you want to replace that washer or dryer. Don't even think about it. Time to get update your item.
Yeah. To your point right there is a great one, is the new technology that's constantly coming out. Is it worth repairing the item that you have compared to the value of the new shiny one that has so many more bells and whistles? half the time, you know me, I'm not even going to use those, but it's nice to kind of have them.
Yeah, well, I think you know, in our lifespan, we've seen ourselves come from, you know, rolling the rock down the road to almost space age things that we've got. But you make a very good point. That is kind of the complexity of a fix too. I mean, if you've already got something that's somewhat into the space age, you may not be able to. You may not be the kind of person who wants to change a motherboard out, because you don't want to actually look how it fits, the proper motherboard. You might attach it or touch something within that fix that could burn out another part of that project. So it could be more challenging the more technical you may need to do this. So you'll have to know your skill level on these things. Yeah, I think it's time to give our audience a little example of what we're talking about. You know, we talk about the why we're going to decide whether we're going to fix or we're going to replace. I'm sure they're eating out there waiting for us to give them some examples, just like, because they're going through my head. So Greg, what do we think about when we think about the items we want to fix in our home?
Yeah, well, I feel like there's categories, right? There's an always fix, a never fix, and depends. And that's where I was kind of thinking when I was, you know, brainstorming these categories and walking around the house and looking at stuff. One of the ones that came right away was appliances, the major appliances in the house. And I'm talking like the kitchen and the laundry room, right?
Okay.
For me, those have always been try to fix off the bat, and then working my way, depending on how old the unit is, I will look at the new technology that's out there, and sometimes I will just say, hey, it's time to give up on this old guy and let's get some of the new techie computer stuff in there.
Sure, that's that. Listen, I'm a tech guy. I love it. However, I like my money better. And so you know me, I'm always the frugal one. I'm going to see if I can't get that washer and dryer to last about as long as I can. I was on about 15 years on a washer and a dryer until it actually got to some major portions of those two units.
Yeah.
But I got those things to tail along, and the fixes were something that I could afford, something that was quick, something I could pick up at the local either appliance repair shop or at the local big box store, one of the two, and I could have that fix done within a day. That was kind of how I went that route, because anyone who does laundry knows you can't go a week on these things.
No.
Maybe 3 days, but it's piling up with kids. So that was where I would be with that. Now, this leads me to one other why that I would maybe challenge you back on some of the appliances, such as ovens and things that might have heating cores or something to that effect. I always look to decide whether I can fix something without causing any major damage. That's why I've stayed away from things like, the stoves. If I think it's something in there that if I replace it and I don't get it right, could cause some major damage, I kind of stay away from it.
Yeah.
So that would be, something I would think about with the appliances.
One that I just dealt with a couple years ago actually was my dad's washer just had a bearing that needed replaced. We went ahead and replaced that. Another one, though, that I did end up going ahead and not doing the repair was actually truly replacing the unit was the oven.
Okay.
In the past, I have changed. Like, sometimes it's just a thermometer in there and the thermostat is just not reading right.
Sure.
So it's not regulating the temperature properly. And it was an older unit, so there wasn't the computer in there.
Right.
So I was able to fix that. Now, this last go around, the oven it had more technology in it. So one thing that I wasn't as comfortable with, working on. Also, we've talked in the past, this thing's a built-in, and the weight of that thing was crazy.
I was going to ask you about that.
And I couldn't access that where I needed to make the repair. I can't access that without removing the whole unit. And that thing weighs like 500 pounds.
Yeah.
So we decided that was going to be a full replace.
Yeah, back to the complexity of the whole thing. See, this is why washer and dryer to me were not only a little bit challenging and fun, they were easy access.
Oh,
most of the ones we had, you just spun it around, you took off your hoses, spun it around, took off a couple bolts, and the whole back comes out. I mean, I can look at the drum, I can look at the computer board, I can look at the latch systems within it, and maybe even some of the interiors of it. So that made fixing it easy, accessible, and way less challenging than I thought. And
the complexity isn't as high in those. Yes, there is the computer on the main board, but like what you're saying is when you get into that in the back, everything that you really need to work on is not tucked in these weird corners and stuff. There's a lot of space. And you're moving that dryer out every year at least once just to clear out your line and make sure it's all ready to go and running in good order. So moving it into a position to work on as well isn't that challenging.
Yeah, and I know we haven't gone too far into our list yet, but the washer and dryer is a perfect example of how each individual unit works within itself to make the whole appliance work, and you can understand each one. One thing I would say to take a pause at, if you start going into things and you don't know which computer board you have, or you don't know which wiring harness needs to go where, you might want to back up a little bit, and then really take a look at whether you need to, get into this, because that's where the problems exist. When you know what you're doing, don't take chances with appliances, which is why when I get to the heating products, and once I can burn down your home, okay, those are the things where I'll back off and say, hey, let's either purchase a brand new one or maybe get it repaired. But again,
one thing though to help you with that is take pictures. Constantly take pictures and video. I mean, obviously we do it because this is part of our living, is making videos on these repairs and stuff like that. But even before I ever did YouTube, I always snapped at least photos of components. So it tells you where all the wires went before you took it all apart. The order that you took it apart, because you reverse it to put it back that way. And being able to reference back to photos is huge. It takes that guesswork out.
Yeah, and one thing I love about it becomes a scrapbook when I do this. And I can tell you that when first married, I was a person that my wife was a little bit worried about me opening up everything. She wanted new, she wanted no problem. She did not want appliances and things to go down. If we did, we would just save up and purchase a new one. Sometimes even going without. But over the years, by not scrapbooking all my pictures and showing her how many things I fixed, now she just looks and goes, okay, are you going to fix this? Or do we have to do something different? Which gave me a little bit of clout in the house to determine those factors. So, but again, these are things that you can build some confidence on and, have the courage to do something maybe a little more difficult in the future. But those pictures are essential, not only for putting it back together, but for showing maybe that person at the desk of the big box store or the appliance thing and say, hey, this is what I've got.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to take down numbers, serial numbers,
part numbers,
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And with the one thing I've gone even further on is I've actually ordered old parts off of eBay from people who have like a junkyard of these things. So what's funny is I'm seeing that this turnover of appliances happens so much more because I think if we have, let's say, a little bit of an elderly group watching this video, they'll know they don't build them like they used to.
No.
You buy an appliance this year, you're lucky to get 5 years out of it. Okay, it's a good thing to have these extended warranties because a lot of times you'll have your first problems in that. But the years of having an appliance for 20 years, I mean, unfortunately, I think are a little bit over.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, the components just don't last in them, and you run into just simple computer issues that are just not fixable. With our capabilities, but. Going on another one that I think everyone should be able to do is your simple fixes of your toilets and your faucets.
Absolutely.
There's no electronics in that.
Right.
It is really, if you're just teetering into this do-it-yourself, you just purchase your own home.
I like this one.
Literally, a toilet just has the float system with the pump and a flap. Like, that's pretty much that whole thing. Super easy to get into. Faucets, shutting off the water. Really, it's just a cartridge in there with a handle to open the valve or shut the valve. Very simple, very easy to do. As well as even if you just want to upgrade your faucet. Also another simple thing that you can, if you decide you're going to replace rather than repair, not a difficult thing to do.
Exactly, and it's not full plumbing jobs.
No.
I mean, it's more the prep of making sure the water's out of the way, and then just working through, your washers, making sure you tighten up your seals and things to that matter. Make sure you get the right part in each one of these things. But again, we're talking about things that will constantly go on you over the years, so it's a good thing for you to start learning this stuff earlier, and definitely fixable. Fixable. You're not really getting rid of the commode or the entire toilet in each one of them, unless you want to change your style. I mean, those things can stay in your home just about forever. And not everybody is doing full rentals or renovations on their bathrooms, so your faucet's going to be around. And if you get a nice faucet, some of the top of the line ones, they will last. Absolutely. And especially with all the brass parts that can be on them.
Right. And if they don't last, you're talking, your Moen and your Delta. A lot of times those things have lifetime warranties. You just need to know your part, the faucet number, product number. Certainly. You call them, they'll send you the part that you need without a cost to you.
Absolutely.
Maybe pay shipping. Yeah. So low cost, not difficult to do, as well as you don't need a ton of tools to do it.
Exactly. And again, once you learned it, you can move through the next project, on the next faucet much easier. Yeah. I mean, you'll find your first faucet job or cleaning out the interiors of the toilet itself. That stuff just blows by the next time you do it.
Yeah.
So it's something very quick. In fact, I would bet you and I have some of those products in our home now.
Yeah.
I have extra seals. I have an extra float. So in case things go bad, I can just go downstairs and pick those things up.
And then it's a 10-minute fix.
Correct.
Yeah. Staying in this line, but for first-time home buyers, once you have kids, this is going to come up a ton. Repairing drywall.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Simple drywall patch. I mean, there's so many YouTubes out there on how to do it. Not difficult, easy to do. Again, limited tools. This isn't so much, items in the home, but something that, man, we got little soccer players running around our house. Man, as many times you tell them not to kick a ball in the house, that's when they'll kick the ball. And dents and stuff like that, super easy to fix.
Oh, absolutely. And again, my home shows its age. It actually shows the damage. I mean, I can give you from the kids when the kids were 2 to 5 damage, from
the
5
damage
to
is getting
10.
higher.
Exactly. I mean, let's go even further than that, because I would say the same thing about flooring. A lot of people. They start getting a ripple in their carpet, afraid to get a kicker out, and stretch that carpet a bit. It's outside the comfort zone, but to be able to fix your own carpet, if actually it's still in good shape, or to maintain it, or get a cleaner and clean up that thing. How about a break in the tile of your floor? These things. Do you because you have a couple broken tiles that maybe your floor didn't settle correctly? Do you want to fix that yourself, or are you just going to replace the whole floor? This is where, to me, some of the things we're talking here is a cost factor, because you choose to have somebody else do this, or you choose to you choose to let's say leave it. The cost factor goes skyrocketing. It's either a big problem in the house between you and the wife, or it's just too expensive to do. You can get in there and fix these things for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
So again, it's a comfort factor. These depending on how much, and we could send you to our last podcast on renting tools.
Yeah.
You have to be comfortable, but fixes become a necessity in the home, and you're going to want to find yourself leaning on the side of fixing more things than purchasing, because you don't want to, like I said, that money flies out the window when you decide that everything's got to be a replace.
Yeah. And then the next one I was thinking was kind of getting into that realm of getting a little more technical, but still easy, to me at least. Is when I talk about my lawn equipment and stuff like that. I'm talking small engines.
Yes.
I think that is a great step to get into, because one, you're not having difficulty getting into where you need to work on, right?
Right.
It's all exposed. There's nothing tucked around it. There's not all these electronics components with it. So that's a great way to learn, how to do simple oil changes and stuff like that. But changing a spark plug a lot of times will fix an issue, or, rebuilding a carburetor.
Well, yeah. Do you have to rebuild it all the time? No. Sometimes they sell these kits out here that make things exceptionally easy. You buy the carburetor itself, you just screw it back in. You screw it back in. You attach everything back up, and she's out running again. The beauty of the small engines, depending on whether it's on a snowblower or it's on a lawnmower, is that they haven't changed much over the years.
Right.
They keep them simple. They keep and that's what you have to understand. But you got to get some comfort with it.
Yeah,
like you said.
Yeah, and then I feel like that branches. Once you get comfortable doing something like that, to your point, you understand a little bit more of the knowledge on how an engine works by working on the small engines, and then you can actually apply that to your larger things in the future because you have a simple understanding of, how fuel, interacts with the engine itself and how things run.
Even better, the more you fix whatever it is, be it appliance, be it a small engine. Let's talk about how that trains you as a homeowner to maintenance your equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, the real truth of the matter is you start looking into this, you now become a problem solver. You know if it's a seal that's going on something. You know immediately did a screw get stripped and now something's pulling off and that's where you're getting your vibration in the engine. You will know that you need to winterize some of your equipment. And that avoids you having to fix it in the future. Once again, avoiding the problem I have with everything, and that is a full replace for the cost.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love how it's a process and learning and doing things like that, because when you do have emergencies, to your point, that pop up, you're no longer panicking. Because you know what's going on. You have a pretty good idea what's causing some type of issue. And your stress level. Like in the past when you were running to grab the phone, trying to call your dad or a repair guy because you had no idea. And here, it's just a simple fix.
Yep. Well, here's a great example of that. I'm in a big box store. I walk in there. I'm trying to figure it out, right? I'm trying to figure out what I need, the parts I need, where, the different types of, options I have for fixing it. And I'm taking up the salesperson's time, and he's getting annoyed with me because he's not quite the DIY person himself, and you can see that. You'll run into people at some of these stores. Better salesman than he is to help the fix, right? And so, you got another person, he must have helped 2 to 3 people while I'm sitting in that store for 30 minutes trying to figure out something. He probably got 2 or 3 people who just went and bought the new one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was easily done like this. But again, you're going to find out who you are with that. But those people are spending 10 times what I'm going to do. And have learned nothing throughout the process, may even repeat that process.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to, share with you guys, as well as, some of the more things that we think are fixable.
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever revert back to like my dad used to tell me the days when your toaster broke and you went to the repair shop to even have that thing. I don't know if we'll ever get there, but there's no reason for us to be a completely... Everything, as soon as it breaks, you toss and buy new.
Right.
We're still not at that point, and I hope we never get there.
Well, I think it's a lifestyle. It is how you have grown up. My dad wouldn't have none of that. You know what I mean? Even though I can guarantee you there have been times where I watched him labor over something. And here's the other thing. If you labor over something long enough, okay, you will know what categories become the simple replace after that. I mean, we're not asking anybody here to labor over any fix for any time period. And God bless you if you have enough money to just replace it on the moment, or you're the kind of person who has to have the newest and best. There's no problem with that either. But we want you to, like I said, never fear the fix and be ready to at least look at the problem-solving issues of it all. Because again, home ownership, it's a journey.
Yep.
It's a journey.
Yeah. Now, let's go and transition right from that, when you were just talking about it, the no-goes. the ones that are simply throwaways at this point. And the first one that I can come up with is a TV.
Yeah.
You're
looking at my list. Yeah.
I had a feeling there'd be some overlaps here, but
Yep.
I mean, we've referenced it before. The old school stuff, man, I still love working on that. And that's more just a hobby and to tinker away with.
Yep.
An actual TV, that modern TV like that, there's so much stuff in there. One, I can't even get the thing to open up. Once I open it, I'm going to damage it more than anything. And I'll never fix it. I'll waste more money. I should have just bought a new one.
I remember the days going with my father to a Sears Fix-It place, and they had a TV section that you would actually go to and bring TVs in, whether they were tubes. Now, again, they don't do much of these flat panels these days, but you're going to find out that those stores don't even exist anymore.
No.
I mean, they're either coming to your house because you paid a lot of money for their warranty, which is an upfront cost within itself, or you're shipping that thing back.
Yeah.
Okay. Or again, replacing it. So yeah, TVs off limits for me completely. I would go just so I can clear off that other one. Anything that seems to be a major problem, such as the oven for me, that could cause major damage if I get it wrong, is a replace.
Yeah.
And there's very few of those out there. One of them would have been the wall oven for me as well too.
Yeah. Yeah. And to go with that as well, I'm thinking small appliances, but also some of the big ones when you brought up that oven. But I was thinking the fridge.
Yep.
And more, it's long-term damage that can happen because when a fridge goes, it's leaking water everywhere. Mm-hmm. And yes, I might be able to fix it and get it up and running, but I know that's to me, that's like a Band-Aid fix. I know it's going to happen again. And my kitchen has wood floors, so anytime water leaks on there, if I'm not home and ready to attack it right away,
Yep.
You're talking major issues, damaging wood floor. Now I'm bringing in extra cost just to repair that. So that's one I would just toss. But also the small appliances in the kitchen nowadays, the toasters, the air fryers, blenders,
yeah.
They're toss and replace.
Exactly, and you just hope you get a good one so you can get some lifespan out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really where we're at. I would absolutely state that there are so many of these items out there that are sold to you knowing that you'll be back for a different one, or they're going to be such improvements on them that it's not getting into these things. And what I will say about, let's say, your water heaters and your refrigerators, when they're just basic one use type of things. Your refrigerator, freezes something if you have a freezer in it, refrigerated it with a condenser. So if the most of your breakdowns are going to be the condenser.
Yeah.
Right? Most of your breakdowns in a water heater are going to be, it's just lifespan is done.
Yeah, the tank goes.
And so you're not really looking at something where you can problem solve 3-4 different small parts. It's not really that. These are kind of, one and done, although they last a long time. They're kind of one and done breaks where you spending all this time trying to fix it or have somebody come out. These people who come out and fix these major things, they cost a lot of money. So is the value there for you? Is the timing, the immediacy there for you to actually, are you sold on this product in your home so much? Maybe high end appliances you might want to have somebody come in and fix because you either like the aesthetics of it or it's been in the house for years, matches all your other appliances, maybe.
Or it's a specialty cut in that.
There you go.
Good luck trying to find another thing that I'm thinking. What is it, like Thermagood?
Or Viking, something like that.
Big fridges that are like custom, and they built custom cabinetry around these things now. And good luck finding one that same dimension.
Sure, exactly. I think you make a good point. If you need that particular appliance or item, then maybe you think about that.
Yeah.
But
also, if you can afford that, you're probably also just paying somebody to fix it.
Possibly.
Right?
Possibly. But that comes into play a lot.
Yeah. And then I'm glad you brought up the hot water tank was my next one.
Yeah.
That is never a repair. That's just a replace. Now, I will replace it myself. It's not difficult. We've talked about this in the past.
Sure.
It's not a difficult process, and especially once you do one, you can pretty much do them all. Even mine, Mine has a constant cycle, so it's constantly pumping hot water throughout the house.
Sure.
So that way, if you're on the far end of the home, you turn on hot water, it's almost instant.
Sure.
You don't have to wait for it to heat up. So that's a little extra component on there, but it still wasn't that difficult.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because we kind of skipped over kind of the furnace, you know,
Yeah.
as well, where there's actually components within the furnace. You know, be it the fan motor
the
and things like
blowers
this.
are
Yeah, you
stuff
can
you
a
can
lot of
tackle.
times you can tackle these things without having to bring the expert in right off the bat. It just takes a little YouTubing or a little bit of problem solving. And again, if you've done enough fixes in your home, this isn't going to scare you all that much. Easily accessible most of the time, as long as it's not built, you know, squared around or underneath your stairs.
Yeah, some of those can be tucked in some weird places.
Completely. I mean, and again, that's the complexity we talked about in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a lot of these out there. You know, another one that you kind of throw away that I remember is garbage disposals. There's not really a fix on something like that either. It just comes and it goes.
Unless it's just the simple where you need to get the key to loosen
oh,
it.
sure.
That's
Yeah,
a lot of
if
people
it
don't
locks
even
itself.
realize that, right?
I love that you brought that up. I mean, but that's what this discussion's all about, right?
It's knowledge that we've tackled that before. So when you flick it on, you hear the hum and nothing's turning. You're like, I gotta go find that Allen key now. Which, if you're like me, who knows where that thing is? But something like that. But yeah, if the whole unit's not working, yeah, that is definitely now something that's just a replace.
Absolutely. All right, Greg. Earlier you were speaking, of your category of it depends.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Well, I call these outliner ones. These are the ones where it's highly dependent on the item itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to bring up one that I think everybody can attach to in this one: the barbecue grill.
Yes.
Right. My barbecue grill, completely stainless steel from Costco. And we love this thing. We love the way it looks. It's so durable. This thing's made it through, 10 winters. I don't even cover it. Mm-hmm. And I just polish her up come the next year. It looks wonderful. Even the knob stainless steel. So this item is worth keeping. However, the interior is completely ruined. From burners to the thermostat on one portion of it. And that always has to be fixed. And I'm willing to do that.
For sure. It's funny, I have some videos on just simply replacing the flame guards can actually make a huge difference. But yeah, when you're talking the racks in there, also the gas piping is actually not difficult to replace that. I'm the same. I got a million grills because I like that.
Yeah.
As everything else in my life, I like to buy a lot of things.
Grill
stuff.
master.
So I have a very large Napoleon that's in the built-in outdoor kitchen area with a nice little side burner. This spring, though, I need to get in there. The flame guards need to replace. I'm not quite sure what it's called, but you know what I'm talking about, the gas piping where the actual flame's at.
Yep.
Those need to be replaced. So I'm going to be dumping some money into it, but not as much as
I was
going
to say not as much as the initial cost. Correct.
Also, I've had tons of buddies fix their Traegers. A lot of times I guess it's an auger in there. That little thing that turns the pellets in goes. One thing they've all told me is Traeger's customer service is excellent and can really talk you through. So that's something really good to know about. But it's not a difficult repair as well. So you don't have to go out and buy a whole new unit. You can just replace that. And then I got like the old school Weber, just the charcoal guy, which those things, because I don't cover them all the time, everything, they rust out, and that is a toss. And because there's nothing to it, right? It's just the metal's gone.
Yeah, I totally agree. Quality unit, let's get in there and fix it and keep it going. Mm-hmm. My brother-in-law, complete opposite from me. He buys a grill that just does what he wants to do, and he treats it like, a bad dog. He basically will just run through it, never clean it, never maintain it, and then just buys a new one every 2 years. I mean, this thing, like I said, I've seen this thing burn holes through the bottom of it. And he'll just toss it and go to the next one. God bless that man. But I like to, and again, this is something we should talk about when we, now that we're getting into the fact that we're replacing these things. Think about whether you want to hold on to it, right? When you're buying it, that's going to put you in a price point of, I'm good with this thing lasting 5 years. Because I'm telling you, if you don't do it, the manufacturers have already done it. They already know how long that product's going to last. They just don't tell you. And they, you got to do a lot of research to make sure whether you're going to be a fixer and it's quality unit, keep it for 10 years, or you're just going to buy one that may go out in 2 to 3.
Yeah, for sure. Another big one for me that was in the maybe category, and we've talked about this a little bit in the past, was the automobile and the car. Again, it goes back to that point now with the computer systems in cars. If it's an older car or vehicle, that is probably one I'm going to actually tackle and repair. Which sounds like reverse. If it's older, it's like it's not going to last as long, but it actually is easier to work on than these new cars.
Parts are cheaper. Oh, absolutely.
The problem is if you can find them. But he brought up the junkyards, man. Those things are gold mines for old cars.
Yeah, I used to do the junkyards with my father-in-law. It was fun. It was economical, and I had the cars to do it. Now, I have one car that I won't even touch, so that's warranty driven. And I know that because of, like we said, the technology in this thing is, multi-computered. Even the headlights are connected. They're monstrous headlights. They're not even small ones. So you can replace one for a cost-efficient fix. They are going to cost you hundreds, if not more.
Getting to them now.
Oh gosh, yes.
They're so tucked in there.
Exactly, and you make a great point. I used to be able to get into a lot of my vehicle engines, whether it was a fuel pump, that kind of thing, from the side of the engine. Fuel pumps are now inside the engine itself. I'm not one who owns a cherry picker to pull this thing out, nor do I have a lift in my garage to get to just about anything I have to. So I've been pushed out of that category, but I still have an old town and country van. I can fix many things on that, and they have so many parts out there that the parts have gone down, incredibly cheap to fix this thing. In fact, when I go on to Amazon, I can put in my car, and it'll give me all the parts that Amazon has, and it's pretty quick, and it's just a good start from where you may be. Junkyards are becoming few and in between these days.
Yeah, it's sad.
It is.
Going on the junkyard picking. That was just a good time.
It was a piece of Americana that's just like now I get my fix by watching this Antique Roadshow.
Yeah,
I get my fix there on that kind of like a nostalgic kind of thing like that. Now again, I mean, we hope to have a car guy on here to kind of talk about some of those things. That'll bring back some fun and but they've really kind of niched that out to people where the common person. In fact, I used to go to mechanics who would find parts for me from resale shops. From they'd be like, hey, let me send my guy out to the junkyard. Maybe he can find that piece for you. That doesn't even happen anymore. That's just not even a thing. I mean, I'm more apt to see my mechanics just doing top end stuff. This is what it takes. This is what I install. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not, hey, how can I save you the price? You're coming to me. I'm going to fix it the way I want to. And that's so. Like I said, family mechanic is kind of out of there too.
Before I moved here, I had a buddy who was literally right down the street who had a mechanic shop there, and all the buddies, we knew he would actually give us a whole bay where we could lift up the car and work on it. And honestly, I think it was more an excuse for all of us because whoever's car went down, we were all showing up.
I love that,
and it was a good hangout. It was almost like hanging out at the barbershop, but one person was actually working while the rest of us were, goofing off. But man, those times are gone.
Well, a good mechanic is priceless, but that's just not how it works anymore. I mean, in fact, I know very little people who have their own personal mechanic. Now, again, it could be in the family, family friend. That works, but that's a priceless commodity if you can still find one today.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, I got two buddies back in Ohio who, if you're looking at not working on your own vehicle or your small engine, one owns a small engine repair shop in the Akron area, and another one owns a mechanic shop in the Akron area. Two really good guys that I'll leave links down so you guys can look at those.
Yeah, my father-in-law, he had many jobs in his life, and one was a small engine repair. And he said it was maybe one of the... He always didn't understand why people wouldn't fix them themselves. But that he's very old school in that matter, and people either don't have the time don't have the know-how, okay, or are looking to have something done because they can pay for it. So, but that small engine repair shop is few and in between.
Yeah, hard to find good ones. Another one that I had though on my Depends, and it's funny being a woodworker, you would think it would not, but furniture. I a lot of times you got like a squeaky or loose chair. It's just tightening a bolt on the legs, and that thing's fixed. I actually have an older leather couch. That you know how the leather kind of just deteriorates on it, cracks. I have a product on there. I haven't done it yet. The wife reminds me constantly, but I am going to check that out to see if it's worth.
You're going to try and upholster that sucker?
No, this stuff is made to condition the leather and kind of bring it back to life. I have done upholstery in the past.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, at this point, I don't have a sewing machine, and I'm not really good at it. Making those patterns there's a little art to that.
I didn't. Okay, I didn't go that far.
Yeah.
But I've been known to change seats, rewrap an entire, rewrap an entire chair.
I've done it for my parents' old dining room furniture twice now.
Yeah, I felt it funny because I used to do stairwells when I used to floor, and I would have to wrap heavy duty back carpeting around everything, and I found the upholstery to be actually easier to do.
Much easier.
But it is a talent that you have to have patience with, and not only that, it's something you really have to strengthen. I mean, you're talking about a piece of furniture that's going to be pounded on. Okay, you got a 5-year-old jumping on this thing. You got to make sure it's getting right. So you learn those things. It's kind of interesting, but I like that one. I think furniture I tackle every time.
Yeah,
I tackle every time. But again, if you talk to my wife, every piece of our furniture is outdated. This woman would change. Right, this woman would change every chair in our house tomorrow. So while I love her, we just have to come to some conclusion on what we're going to keep and what needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
And then how about this? We've talked about your categories. Sometimes there are fixes that need to be fixes, and there are fixes that you can put down the road. Now, again, I'm not saying that that's what you do, but as you start fixing products, you'll see what needs to happen now and what you can put off for just a bit. Sometimes the fix you put off long enough, you've got the money to replace it. What we do is we have a little jar on the side. We put the money away for the next refrigerator. Not everybody has the patience or the habits to be able to do that, right? I mean, okay, well, there have been times where the money's gone somewhere else too, but again, you need to see the whole lay of the land. If you're going to do a fix, we talk about the flow. It's got to be something that's easy for you, else you're going to become that person who buys everything because you don't have that habit of doing that.
Yeah.
Or are you going to be the one who fixes it too much and then the wife's on you all day? Can we please buy a new toaster and I guess we're not fixing the toaster, but can we please buy a new refrigerator, couch.
Yeah.
So what I would say about this whole category, and has been just sitting in the back of my head while we're talking about this, Greg, is I like to know that I'm a kind of like 70% fix, 30% replace. I can live with that in my life. I know my budget can handle that. I know that I can get to these things, whether it be on a weekend or an evening when I'm not doing something, and get this stuff done. I think there's some part of your life when you're looking at what kind of do-it-yourself person you're going to be that you're going to have to come up with that. Because when I do 70%, that means I'm saving 70% of the money that's not going out the window.
Yeah.
Some people are going to be happy with just, hey, I'll fix half, I'll fix half. Some people live in apartments, rent everything, okay, and they can be 10% fix. Some people choose to be none. But you really do need to know with your own budget and who you are, and that's what I think a lot of our podcasts are about, is your journey as a do-it-yourself person and, the kind of person you're going to be when you do it.
Yeah. And when you said that, I think to myself, like, I'm a 95% fix it, 5%, and that's not reality. I would like to think it is because everything I think I can fix. But I would say, it's probably more 70-30 when I actually finally sit back and think about it.
I think when we look at all the things we have in our home,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, there are going to be times. I mean, I have majorly thought about repairing my roof. You know who repaired his roof? My father-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay, older than me, older school. And when I did the calculations, maybe starting out as like you, hey, I'm gonna, I'm conquering this one way or the other. Slowly but surely, I ran into
hits. Yeah,
exactly. So I like that point because, again, you learn this over the journey.
Yeah. And also, too, as you go through the journey, you're buying better quality, hopefully, of things. And now it's worth fixing rather than this was a temporary purchase, right?
Yeah. I often will speak to my father-in-law about the journey of home ownership and just a life journey of how little I made when I was young, how little time I had, and how now I have the time and a little bit more money. It changes your decision-making process.
For sure. Well, I hope you guys found this topic entertaining and going down the journey. We'd love to hear in the comments some of the stuff that you guys chose to fix and if it was worth it, and other ones that you are high on the list of this thing is going to end up on the curb as soon as it's done. So.
Absolutely. And Greg, I wanted to add one last thing here as a plug to all of our beehive out there looking at these videos. When you do these things, as you fix things, guess what you have to end up purchasing? Tools to do the fixes.
Yes.
And you can look at some of our podcasts when we talk about the quality tools that are out there that are going to help you decide whether you're fixing or you're replacing. Yeah. So I appreciate you guys watching.
Yeah, and if you're done with this one and you need those tools, head on over to episode 1 where we tackle that topic quite a bit. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for buzzing by. You take care. Yay!
You son of a gun.
Just push on the edge. Give you something to push.